Good evening. I'm WSA 9 meteorologist Topper Shutt. We are tracking showers and thunderstorms in January. Now, right now, nothing severe. We've seen a lot of severe weather in the southeast and as far north as North Carolina. But right now, we just have some heavier showers and storms pushing through. You might have heard the heavy pounding of rain between about 8 o'clock and about 9 o'clock. And now we're seeing another batch of showers and storms. The yellow is the heaviest activity. And again, we're looking at the potential for a couple of rumbles of thunder and some heavy downpours. So this is the latest image, and you look at the yellows there, that's moderate rainfall. We don't see any reds, although if you look up toward Baltimore, this went through about an hour ago. This was pretty heavy. A little flecks of red up around Baltimore. That indicates rainfall about 1 inch per hour. And the good news is they're moving fast. We do not anticipate any flooding with this. But the yellow, that would be rainfall more than likely in the order of about half an inch to maybe 0.6 of an inch per hour. So these are pretty heavy storms down to the south of us. So we're going to take a look at some of these storms now. And again, right now there are no severe thunderstorm watches. There are no warnings anywhere for us. So we are in good shape in terms of that. But they're going to be heavy for the next couple of hours. In fact, until about midnight, they're going to be on the heavy side. So we're going to go in and we're going to just check out the activity kind of to the west of us, kind of covering up most of Fairfax County at this hour. So we're looking at heavy rain out toward Chantilly and Reston, and also out all the way out Sterling. As you go out 50 between Fairfax and Chantilly, it's heavy, then it kind of just gets moderate Aldie as you go toward Middleburg and Upperville out 50. And then, some more heavier rain down toward Warrenton. So again, we're looking at the potential for some brief heavy downpours and some gusty winds. Whether these storms turn severe or not, we're still going to see some winds ahead of the front and then behind the front, 30 to 40 miles per hour. So hopefully all the inflated holiday decorations are down, either in the garage or down deflated on the ground, because they're going to blow around a little bit tonight. All right, so we're going to kind of move around here just a little bit. We're going to go down to the south because this is by far and away where the heaviest activity is. So we're going to kind of move south of Manassas, go down towards Stafford, see how it gets a little more yellow. So that's a little heavier activity down toward Fredericksburg and Goldvein. Good news is I'm not seeing anything red. That's good news. I'm not seeing any rotation at this point either. But pretty good rains down toward between 17, between Midland and Goldvein. And also, as you go down 95, I mean, a miserable night to be on 95. Either have moderate rain or heavy rain, depending on where you are. You hit down Stafford and you've got pretty much heavy rain. Down toward Fredericksburg, also some heavy rain. And we'll just kind of go a little bit further south here. Spotsylvania, heavy rain. And at one time, we had some big storms down toward Richmond. They are weakening a little bit, but I'll tell you what, you get south of Fredericksburg up toward Ladysmith, and that's moderate to heavy rain. And all this is coming up to the north and the east. So a lot of these showers and storms that you see between Spotsylvania and Ladysmith will kind of work their way up 95 over the course of the next hour or so. So let's move on now. Let's move back. So here's the latest image. Okay, so we have moderate rain in the metro, heavier rain out west, a little heavier activity now kind of popping up on the west side of 270, west of Rockville. But by far and away, heaviest activity where we were zooming in down toward Chantilly. And we'll watch this. This is a little heavier line between Manassas crossing 95 into just south of Alexandria around US 1. We'll watch that. But again, I'd rather be tracking snow than storms, but c'est la vie. So here's Futurecast. This is a high-res model, and it has, I wouldn't get too hung up on the exact locations of some of these heavier cells. Just be advised that even though it's January, we're a little bit unstable, and we could have some big downpours and a couple of storms. Futurecast has a couple of storms, Culpeper between Manassas and Fredericksburg, and that's at 11 o'clock tonight. So we're still kind of rocking and rolling a little bit at 11 o'clock tonight, and also some activity that's pretty heavy out toward Annapolis, coming down 97 toward the Bay Bridge. Now, that's 11 o'clock. Midnight, still some heavy activity. We see the flecks of orange. That's pretty impressive for January, and some good yellow. That's moderate rain north of Gaithersburg up to 70 toward Frederick. Good news is back to the west by midnight, some breaks in the showers. And essentially that is the takeaway here. These storms will taper off to showers. Now the showers may continue on and off all night and get out of here very early on Friday. But the good news is heavy activity will taper off probably as early as 1, 2 o'clock. I mean, this is 12:30 and most heavy activity now is up 95. See the orange and the red, orange and the yellow rather, and just light shades of green back. So yeah, we're going to be left with a lot of showers once this rolls through, but for the most part, I would say in terms of the heaviest rain and some gusty winds, the next 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours are critical. By 6 a.m., now we see the back edge of the showers and the clouds extend farther back. Yes, that is snow west of the divide. Good news for the ski resorts. They're going to have snow showers all day Friday from Wisp down to Timberline in the Canaan Valley, all the way down to Snowshoe. Good snows in Snowshoe. They could get 6 to 10 inches, all the way down into the Smokies all of Friday. So if you have plans, going out into western Maryland tomorrow, be advised, you're going to hit some pretty good snows. Okay, that's 6 a.m. So some of us will have a wet commute early in the morning, especially if you're headed to and from Baltimore or in D.C. out 50 or toward Annapolis. By 7 o'clock, I think Futurecast hanging on to this a little bit long, has some moderate rain down toward Calvert County and Charles County. Not so sure I agree with that, but okay. And then by 8:30, some showers lingering into southern Maryland, some clearing, though, along I-81. So here is the radar. Again, last couple of hours, and moving essentially to the due northeast, right? So this just working its way up 95. So what we see down to the south here in Fredericksburg, I mean, I'm a little concerned. Although if you notice carefully, look at this, watch this. See the red, and it kind of wanes a little bit. So it moved into some slightly stable air between like Fredericksburg and Baltimore, and not quite as heavy. But still, again, for January, this is silly stuff for January, isn't it? I mean, I think it is. So we got heavier rain out toward Rockville and Germantown, certainly out Route 7, past Great Falls into Drainesville, and down toward Fairfax. This is where your heaviest rain there, in the orange and the kind of the burnt orange here, and then the yellow surrounding that. That's rainfall rates between, again, 0.6 and about 0.8 of an inch per hour. The good news is, because these are moving pretty fast, about 35 miles an hour, we don't see any flooding with this, but you're going to hear the big fat raindrops hit the roof. No doubt about that. Even though it's January, these are almost spring-like storms, really. This is, well, quite frankly, the whole pattern of January has been more a pattern you'd expect in April, especially across the country when we have big storms moving between Chicago and Detroit. I mean, we get a storm track like that, we're never going to get snow here. And there's a storm next week and the week after that has the storm moving west of Chicago. That's really what you'd expect in April. And because of that storm track, you'd expect severe weather, and we did have severe weather today in Georgia and Alabama, and even in Kentucky and Tennessee. So this is what we're looking at here. And I want to just take a look down to the south, because I think we're going to see this between Alexandria and Ladysmith and down toward Dahlgren and Stafford. This is pretty heavy activity, too, on the east side of 95. And this is all moving northeastward. So La Plata, you have moderate rain now. It'll just become heavier in the next half an hour. Waldorf, you have moderate rain. It will also just become heavier in the next half an hour. And pretty good rains going down 95 Quantico through Stafford all the way to Fredericksburg. We'll go a little further south here. And for the most part, we're looking at moderate to heavy rain. Don't see the reds that we had earlier, okay? I don't see that as much down toward Ladysmith. But you go down 301, that's going to be a mess across the Nice Bridge. So, again, there's a little bit of red popping up here. We'll watch that and see if that intensifies as it heads towards Mechanicsville and also Leonardtown. The good news is things are moving pretty quickly, so that's pretty good news. Again, here's Futurecast, and we've got 11 o'clock. We still have some individual cells, if you will. They're not really cells, but they're kind of cells. Pockets of heavy rain. So there's a little bit of convection down towards Culpeper and certainly down toward Fredericksburg here. Everybody's covered with rain, okay? Just a question of when these storms taper off to showers. And then the showers kind of linger all night, but nothing crazy heavy after midnight or 1 o'clock. I mean, this is 11 o'clock. By the time we get to midnight, pretty good rainfall up to 70, but now most of it is east of I-95. And headed out 50 toward Annapolis. Yes, we have showers all the way back to Cumberland, but they're shades of green, so that is light activity. That's just not a heavy rainfall. So just a question of when these taper to showers. You may hear light showers all night. In fact, you will, on and off. By 1 o'clock, Now we got everything heavy going up I-95 north of Baltimore, headed over toward Newark, Delaware, and up into Jersey eventually. But, you know, we have still pretty good rains and showers back to Martinsburg. And yes, it is all green. There's no cold air rushing in, turning this to snow. That would at least be interesting. By 6 a.m., I kind of disagree with this just a little bit. I think we'll have a couple of showers lingering. Essentially, though, I-95 eastward. So we're not going to issue a weather watch alert for Friday morning. I mean, some of you may have a wet commute, but, you know, temps are not going to be a problem. In fact, temps will be in the 50s, well, 40s to around 50. Don't be fooled with that. Dress for the 30s and 40s on Friday. Winds are going to howl at about 40 miles an hour, so just sort of keep that in mind. It has breaks in the clouds along I-81 around 6 a.m. That I agree with. I don't really agree with this lingering rain down into southern Maryland. I mean, that's dark green and even a little yellow. That's some pretty heavy activity into Calvert, parts of Charles County, St. Mary's County. That's at 7 o'clock in the morning. By 8:30, well, you know, we still have some clouds, but now we're beginning to clear. Frederick and Leesburg, back to Culpeper, generally clear. Yes, this is snow in blue out west of the Divide, and that's good news for the ski resorts. It really is. Probably 2 to 4, maybe 3 to 6 inches for like Garrett County and the Canaan Valley. But again, snowshoe in West Virginia, 6 to 10, 6 to 12 maybe? Yeah, as we go through all of us Friday. All right, here we are. We're looping it again. Pretty good. I mean, you don't see this too often in January. The only time you'd see that yellow is if we were looking at snow kind of changing to sleet and we get kind of bright banding. But, you know, for the most part, this is rain, and this is just something you should be seeing in January. I don't like to see it in January. So we'll stop the radar. So this is the latest radar at 9:41. And again, it has some, you know, pretty heavy rains right around the spur, north 270, up toward Rockville, in between kind of Rockville and Gaithersburg, and heavy activity out Route 7, especially as you get past Drainsville. In fact, we'll go ahead and we'll take a little look at that. So we'll kind of zoom in here. So parts of Fairfax and, you know, northern Fairfax and also Loudoun. I mean, this is pretty heavy rain out toward Reston and even toward Sterling and McLean. It's, you know, that's yellow. That's pretty heavy activity. Again, not severe, but, you know, we're just showing you this because it's kind of unusual. And you may have heard some of the rumblings, if you will. I'm going to go take a look now at the storm up here, or the area of rainfall up here, up around Rockville. And we'll kind of move this over a little bit. So there you are at the spur, and you're going to go north. Yeah, heavy rain in McLean. And again, this is going to be with us for a little while. This heavier shower/storm pattern will just taper to showers as we go through the night and then get out of here by early in the morning on Friday. So we're not going to issue a yellow weather alert for Friday. Most of you will have a dry commute, especially coming in from the west. So we'll zoom out here. We've got, you know, pretty good rains out 190, which is River Road, past Potomac, and on the other side of the river, we got pretty good rains also over toward Great Falls. Not flooding rains, but, you know, pretty decent rains for January. I guess the good news is, you know, they're going to be out of here soon. Otherwise, we would have to worry about some flooding. So here's the latest radar. We see the back edge of the rain now, essentially out toward I-81. But we're seeing no shortage of yellow, are we? Especially down into southern Maryland and also into lower Montgomery County. Again, rainfall rate's about 0.6 of an inch per hour. And Leesburg, just moderate rain. And Frederick, also some moderate rain as well. Okay, we'll zoom in one more time. Here we are. That's actually intensified just a little bit, hasn't it? Around the spur. It's just south of Tuckerman Lane. And then pretty good rains up toward Rockville and even over toward Albany now. These are going to head toward Etchison and head toward Howard County in the next hour. All right, we'll do Futurecast for you. So this is 11 o'clock. We still have some, you know, bands of some heavier storms, maybe east of 95, out 50 toward Annapolis, and also down to the south and west into the Culpeper area. I mean, everybody still has showers. You see the green. There's no shortage of showers anywhere. And we're kind of concerned about this. If that were to come to pass, that'd be a pretty good little storm for 11 o'clock. What also is interesting, not only are we tracking storms in January, we're tracking storms at night. which means it's got to be a very dynamic situation because we're not getting any heating, obviously. All right, by midnight, pretty good rains north of Gaithersburg up into Frederick, and then there's that activity across into Prince George's County, moving into Howard County by midnight. Then after that, yeah, that's all gone. That moves north of Baltimore, and then we're just left with some showers across the board. We will come back tonight. Hope to see you at 11 o'clock. A new model data coming in now that might just signal a change back to winter. For now, I'm WSA 9 meteorologist